Good morning, River Region, and welcome to St. James Together Apart, our attempt to be together from at least 6 feet apart. This is our second episode, and you are in the midst of my master bath renovation. And so I don't know about you, but I have a to-do list during all of this mess, and one of those is to completely gut our bathroom and rebuild it from the ground up. And so, yeah, that's during my free time. I'm sweating and bleeding and crying every once in a while trying to get this done. But anyway, welcome to our Wednesday edition, where every Wednesday our goal is to sort of dive into what it means to be a Christian when we can't be together. And each Wednesday we're going to hear from a new perspective on how we can react to what's going on in the world around us as Christians. What does it mean to be a Christian in the midst of all of this mess? And today we're so grateful to have Carol Cooper with us, who is the associate pastor at First United Methodist Church in Lexington, Kentucky. She's going to share with us a little bit, and Ross has that interview for us, so take a look at this.
Hey there, St. James family. Welcome to our segment of the Wednesday show where we get to sit down with a voice from outside our church and talk about some of the different emotions and experiences and how we can respond to them as a church and as Christians. I'm here with my good friend Carol Cooper, who is the associate pastor up at First United Methodist Church in Lexington, Kentucky. She has been serving their downtown campus for the past several years, and a dear friend of ours from seminary. And I'm just excited, Carol. Welcome to Together Apart. Our attempt to build community from while we can't be together, essentially. So let's go ahead and
having me.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and dive right into our conversation. So first of all, can you just tell us just real briefly, like what is your role at First UMC Lexington at the downtown campus?
Sure. So I was hired to be their discipleship minister. I look at discipleship from cradle to grave. And so I oversee with our family pastor, our children, youth from nursery through, and then I also oversee our adult Sunday school classes and small groups and help implement those and new ones and things like that as we need to. So looking at how to do that online these days.
Yeah, it definitely is a challenge that we have to adapt to. But I want to not necessarily talk about what your job description is, but I want to hear from you, like your experience as a wife and a mother and a pastor all at the same time. What this crisis has brought to the surface. So like, what kind of emotions have you been processing as a mom, as a wife, and as a church leader? Like what comes to the surface?
So I've struggled a lot. I'm an extrovert. And so it's been a very interesting time. If I had to be quarantined with anybody, I would want it to be with my husband and son. But we also get on each other's nerves at times. And so it's been a challenge for me. I think my biggest emotions have come in the feeling of feeling scattered or discombobulated, maybe. It's different working from home. I have always been a person that has done better going into the office and like, there's my work time. And then I come home and I have my home time, and granted ministry overlaps regularly, but I also was able to separate some of that. And today, everything happens from my house. So I'm at my kitchen table. Like this is where my office has moved to. And that makes for an interesting time. My son's doing schoolwork every day, all day. My husband is doing his work from his office, and things have just been different for us. I have struggled some with my own sense of pride and missing being up front with our church and being around those people. And I think it's a struggle of where does my pride come in and how is God working within that for me? But also my deepest calling is to be with the people in the church, right? Yeah. And so I miss them and I miss our interactions. And so there's definitely a sense of sadness and longing to be with one another.
So as you've kind of reflected on that, I mean, you've very clearly identified, that there's that sense of loss that's going on. And I think to some degree, we're all feeling that, but haven't always been able to name it. But can you just take us, like, how do you process that? How do you move from that and not let that rule you, not
Right.
deny it and completely ignore it, but also not to let it overcome you. How do you walk that balance?
So the first week when we were required to start officing at home and really start social distancing, I went into a complete state of depression. I mean, it was
Mm,
instant. And I would wake and I would throw my hair in a ponytail and I would put on my sweats and I was still doing our meetings and things like that. But I thought, okay, I can't keep doing this. And so structure has been really important to me.
mm,
I get up every morning, I get ready as if I'm going into work, and then I come to my table. But it's been important to wake and to start my day as any other day.
yeah.
The structure's been really important. I think we have to, in times like this, we have to look at it. It is one day at a time.
Mm,
We cannot focus. I mean, when we first started this, none of us thought we would not be gathering at Easter,
yeah.
right? We thought we'll be back for Easter. That will be so wonderful. And
Yes.
it became evident really quick that that probably wasn't going to happen. But if I dwelt on that, which was
Yeah.
weeks away, then the interactions and the ability to do ministry that day was going to be overshadowed by the fact that I was depressed about something that was weeks away.
Yeah.
Um, and so part of it is the reality that we don't know when this is going to end.
Mm,
And that uncertainty is difficult. And yet God has us here in this day and time for such a time as this. And so every day I look at it and think, okay, God, who are you calling me to give a phone call to today? Who can I
mm.
call that needs to hear from me? The other day I picked up the phone, a woman that was on my heart. And the minute I said, hey, it's Carol, I was just calling to see how you were doing, she burst into tears.
Mm.
And I'm a crier. Ross knows this, but I'm a deep crier. And there was a safety there to say,
Mm,
oh my goodness, it's so good to hear someone's voice just to say, I'm thinking about you and I care
yeah.
about you.
Mm,
So every day I have to wake up and go, it's today. Today is the day. This is the day the Lord has made.
yes.
And I'm going to offer myself and whatever God is calling me to. Ministry hasn't stopped. The
Mm,
church hasn't stopped working,
yes.
and we keep going.
Yes, absolutely. Now, we've got a couple of minutes left, but before we got on the air, you mentioned something about a prayer practice that you use. Can you
Right.
talk just a little bit about y'all's family prayer and just what do you do and how does that contribute to the structure of your day and helping maintain structure?
So when all this began, I mean, our family has spent time in prayer together before, but when all this began, our church decided to offer 8, noon, and 9 p.m. prayer. So 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 9 p.m. prayer. And each one's a little bit different, but we have found that our rhythms as a family have really been blessed by this. And
Mm,
so I have some things. Our 8 a.m. one is the field guide for daily prayer, and we walk through that together. Um, we offer prayer requests. We say the Lord's Prayer together. We say the Apostles' Creed together. There's something about those liturgies in our life,
mm,
those liturgies that have been passed down for hundreds of years,
yeah.
to join our voices and hearts as a family and then as a church family across the Lexington and across Kentucky to
Mm,
say, there is great joy in our beliefs together. Our noon prayer time, we've been using Praying in the Wesleyan Spirit by Paul Chilcote. And so he takes 52 of Wesley's main sermons and has put them into prayers. And it's
mm,
beautiful.
yeah.
They're beautiful prayers. It's been fun. People have been ordering the books because they want to
Yes.
join along. And then at 9 p.m., we do from the Book of Common Prayer, we do comp line prayers. And I'll tell you, in the evening to go through this together, I want to read to you. I mean, part of it says several times, it says, guide us waking, O Lord, and guard us
Mm,
sleeping, that awake we may watch with Christ, and asleep we may rest in peace. And how beautiful it is that at
Yes.
9 p.m., as we're closing our day out, my family joins together in this, and it's been amazing.
Yes.
One of the parts of the prayer that has meant so much to me during this time, it says, "Be present, O merciful God, and protect us through the hours of this night, so
Mm.
that we who are wearied by the changes and chances of this life may rest in your eternal changelessness."
Oh my gosh. Like,
I
what a
can't think
word.
of, yeah, I mean, and that's exactly where we are. The changes
Yes.
and chances of this life,
Yes.
none of us
Yes.
known how to prepare for this pandemic. And
Yes.
we probably will never go through something like this again in our lifetime.
Yes.
So, I mean, when you think that the last one was 1918, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, chances are
Yes.
most of us will never see this again.
Uh-huh.
And those words, I mean, they give me chills every time I read them. Every time
Yes.
I read them.
Yes. Yes. Well, I think that is a great message for us. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being willing to share your life. St.
Thank
James,
you.
these are amazing practices, and we hope that you will lean into a rhythm of prayer with your family as well. And we just want to, Carol, from all of us down here in Montgomery, Alabama, in the River region, we just want to say thank you for
Thanks
joining
for
with
having me.
us and sharing your heart today.
Thank you.
You know, I love that word for us in the prayer there at the end. I think we could all agree that many of us are feeling this sense of chaos, this sense of loss during this time. And really, one of the greatest ways to overcome this is through a consistent time in prayer. In Philippians chapter 4, we're given that promise that don't be anxious about anything, but in what? Prayer, that we receive peace that surpasses all understanding, that it's through, in the midst of anxiety and chaos, it's through prayer that we receive the peace that's promised to us. And again, one of the best ways to do that is by consistently praying. And that field guide for daily prayer that they were speaking about is a great way to do that. We have a way for you to purchase that down in the comment section. So make sure you grab that. It's really an inexpensive way to begin practicing a regular rhythm of prayer that will bring about that peace that we all are searching for during this time. Now, next up, we want to talk to you just a second about some of the things that we're doing in the midst of this as St. James. One of the many things that we're doing is a couple of weeks ago, we sent care packages to Baptist East. This was a great way for us to be in partnership with those heroes that are serving during this pandemic and serving in this very difficult time. And we had a lot of folks donate, which we really appreciate that. We came together, packaged 500 care packages for all of these folks at Baptist East, and we went and handed it out. We've received a lot of thank yous for that, but it's just a simple way that we can be a touch point and let the doctors and nurses and hospital staff, everybody that makes things happen there, to know that they're not alone, that there are people that are rooting for them, that are caring about them, that are praying for them during this time. Now, there are all these ways that we as a church are responding, but one of the things that we're really interested in is how you're responding individually. What does it look like for you to be a Christian during this time? And this week we want to show you how 3-year-old Webb Eubanks shows his appreciation for essential workers. So Webb loves the garbage truck, he loves garbage men, and he wakes up excited every Monday is when garbage runs at his home. He wakes up every Monday excited to greet them. And last week, he and his parents put together a box of goodies for them, and Webb made them a little card. It's just a great, amazing way that they are being the hands and feet of Christ in this situation, because it's so easy just to hermit up, to crab up, to not do anything. It's another thing completely to say, we've been handed these oranges. Now, how do we make orange juice, right? We got to make lemonade out of the lemons that we have been given. And it's important for us to be thinking about what that looks like for us, how we are working together to make a difference wherever we can. And you can make a difference right where you are. Our church is bigger than our 4 walls. And in this time, let's try to show the love of Jesus to everyone around us. And so we want you down in the comments section to send us how you are doing that by clicking the link in the description. And that's a great way for you to get noticed on here. We want to be able to share what you're doing with other people in our community that's paying attention to this. Well, thanks again for tuning in. As always, please help us by liking and subscribing to this video. It's right down below, and we will be back with another very fun episode on Friday. As always, keep those hands clean, River Region.